Hello and welcome to my EART 303 sketchbook tour. I will be telling and showing my process during this class and what I have learned about arts education. So starting off with my introduction page, I was inspired by the Tiny Blue Dot video that we watched, and I took a quote from it that said, "Astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience." A theme that I found throughout this entire class is the importance that art is human and art teaches us how to be human. At the beginning of the term, we started out with blind contour drawing and learning how to see. And this activity was super fun, and I will definitely be doing this in my future classrooms as it got everybody out of their uncomfortability and ready to start working with everyone in the class. We also had a discussion on AI and if it could be used as a tool or not. And here is a drawing I did based on an AI image, and I thought it was a really interesting conversation and it was a fun activity. To the right, I have a couple notes and a little drawing I did of my friend's cats that I did for a painting for their birthday. Here are some more blind contour drawings and just drawings I did of my face with the dimensions that we learned in class. At the beginning of the year, I was honestly nervous if I was going to finish my sketchbook in time or even finish it all together, because I've never actually finished a sketchbook from cover to cover, but nearing the end of the term, I actually felt like I didn't have enough room in this sketchbook, so I ended up doing some scrapbooking skills. Here is a drawing I did. The purple lines were the blind contour part, and then in the light blue is where I did the dimensions of the drawing, and in pencil is where I tried to create it as a cohesive self-portrait, and I thought it looked really cool. Here are some more drawings I did of myself. I definitely learned how to draw faces accurate to what a person looks like, and I've never really felt like I could do that before, and blind contour and learning how to see really helped me. Here's where I started doing my notes for the modules, and they start to get a little bit more chaotically organized throughout the sketchbook, but this one was all about the origins and rationals for arts education, and I did a little graph or image of what art education meant to me. Going into this class, I always had a love for the arts, and I wanted to teach children how to express themselves, and I knew that art was very intertwined with building empathy and critical thinking, and this class just made me realize that more so. Also, feel free to pause whenever you're viewing this, but I also wrote a few quotes from art education philosophers and what they had to say. Visual literacy is probably one of my favorite terms nowadays, and I always point out people's visual literacy now, if it's good or if it's not, or if they'll make a comment or see something, I'll be like, dang, that was very visual literate of you to say, and it's my new favorite expression. Here is our collage that we did in class. I had a lot of fun with this activity, and I've usually been scared of collage art, but I found ways to add dimension to art when working with different papers. One of my favorite parts about this class was the amount of reflecting I had to do. Why I drew when I was a kid, why I'd become interested in the arts, what led me to enjoying the creative process. Also, I went home and my mom pulled out some of my drawings as a kid, and I could really see the chromatic scheme and all the other stages I was at when I was drawing. At this stage of my sketchbook, I had a lot going on emotionally in my life, and I was still trying to draw and find comfort in everything, but I was getting a little frustrated with my skills. Here is my mind map, or I guess board game, timeline of my involvement in the arts across visual arts, dance, all creative ways of thinking. I really enjoyed this reflection activity and seeing where I started and how far I've come. For my art assignment activity, me and my two friends did an exquisite corpse where we drew and covered our drawing with a sticky note and then revealed the overall picture at the end. And we really enjoyed this activity, and it was crazy how actually Zach and I both drew a teddy bear, and it was really fun. Zach actually told me afterwards that after our hangout doing our little creative activity, he was inspired to do some art on his own, and that made me very happy. The idea of visual artists and haptic artists was very interesting to me, and I would say I'm more of a visual artist, but after learning about the two sides, I've wanted to start trying to be more of a haptic artist and working in that skill. Here is when I got my new jelly gouache paint set, and I also visited my students that I had my practicum with, and I showed them my sketchbook, and they loved it, and they wanted their own involvement in it as well. And to the right in the red is my favorite page, where I decided to attempt pointillism, which is an art that I thought was very cool, and I'm really happy I tried it. To the left is a painting inspired by Gail Perpick, who is an artist in the small town I grew up, and then to the right is Cecilia Elizabeth, who owns the River House Art Gallery in Saskatoon. I love their styles of painting, and it was really fun trying to learn from them. When I was in school, the most that we got from art education was the elements and the principles, and it took us an entire term to cover them all. And although I think they are important, I don't think they are the base and all there is to know about arts education. I love the idea of teaching art through the lens of teaching through art, teaching about art, and teaching just art in general, and there's many different things you can do with it. This next piece that I taped in, I actually listened to a piece of classical music, and I just drew, I know it looks like scribbles, but I drew what I saw and what I was feeling based off of Kandinsky's model of color has a sound, and I thought that was a very fun activity, and I would love if you listen to the song and maybe try to get a gist of what I was feeling or thinking. I also tried to rewrite the music notes as well. Here is my gesture drawing, which is a technique that I thought was very helpful when it came to drawing figures. And I drew a couple of figures that I looked up, and the man that's sitting on a chair, actually, I saw him on campus and I just drew him. Here's also my first print that I did, which I think turned out better than the one that I did in my sketchbook, but I have a new obsession with printmaking and I want to learn more how to do it. Here was my little speech on what I thought of art galleries, and I think it is a very important and great experience for students to go to an art gallery, because I still remember my first time ever going to the Reme, and it was a very different experience and something that I didn't get to see often growing up in a small town, but I really, really loved that experience. And then last, I did a little portrait of my cat Ivory with my new jelly gouache sets, and I really tried to focus on shading here, which is a painting technique that I still have a lot of work to do in, but I feel like I'm improving. In this class, I learned the importance of creating a love for creativity and art and an appreciation for everything around us, and how to teach students how to critically and emotionally view everything that happens around them. And here are a few notes that I had for my rapid art relating to the golden ratio and how to create spirals. In this class, I learned a lot of different creative activities. For example, casting each other's faces. That I've never done that before, and I'm really happy I got to have that experience. But in the end, I love this class. It was definitely my favorite class that I've taken all throughout university, and it's really changed my way of thinking how I can incorporate the arts in all of my subjects as a teacher, and I definitely want to be that interdisciplinary teacher who can associate creativity with everything students do in their class day. And thank you so much for teaching me these skills.